Hi, I'm Jay. This is my grief. So I lost my parents in 2014 and 2015. I'll say I'm British Nigerian. I'll say British. Like a lot of British Nigerians who've sort of second generation born here. It's quite a humbling experience because as someone who hasn't been through grief before, like if anything, you don't know what to expect, and it was quite scary at first, but having been 10 years in, it's very in a nutshell, it's a very humbling experience, but one that I'm grateful for, looking back. So typically, I feel there's a lot of generalization around black men not being expressive. You almost do like mental gymnastics or whereas you should be able to just like express it without being, if I cry here, people are gonna think this, think that. But I think a large part of that does come down to who I am, my race. But I think for the most part, I am getting to that point where I am becoming a lot more vulnerable with myself, and I would say just not caring as much, you know. So yeah, it's been tough, but I would say it's changing slowly for the better. I always say we mourn for a season, but we grieve for a lifetime. Just meaning that there is no end date to grief, and I typically thought that was the case because you feel like once you go through grief, once you go through the funeral, that's it. You go back to life, and that's just the beginning of it. So I always feel like a lot of time you hear a lot of people say, in time, like you'll be fine with your grief, but me personally, just in my opinion, I don't feel like your grief ends. That's not to say you don't get better with time, but I feel like it's always there. Like there's no end date to it. It's pretty much with you for the rest of your life. Take your time. Most importantly, talk about when you're ready. But in the meantime, I feel like it's important to express in other ways that also help. Obviously, positive ways as well. I may be able to talk about it after a year. That's not the same for everyone. It's not a one size fits all for every single person who's going through. And I think it's important to be aware of that. So I would say take your time, and also finding people who you can trust to talk about it. Because I think talking about it is important, but what's I would say even more important is people you can confide in. There's still joy amongst the roller coaster. Everyone's grief is unique. Everyone's story is different. So that influences the way you're grieving. So I would always say, just give yourself time to sit in the chaos and know that you are going to be happy again. You are going to smile again. I won't say sit calm, relax, but just bear that in mind, and you can't be rushed. So that would be like my words of wisdom, if you like, to anyone really going through it at the moment.